What's going on, guys? Welcome to Boosted Motorsports. Behind me is my 5th gen Ram 3500, and we have been progressively taking this truck from a tradesman, and we are bringing it all the way up to pretty much the highest trim level we can. So you'll see here, we just put in a limited center console. This was originally, like I said, a tradesman truck, and we are going to bring it up to a fully optioned truck. We also just finished installing a premium limited headliner, so it's got the speakers up in the top. I don't know if you'll be able to see them there. And we're going to be doing a bunch of stuff to this, and also I've got this limited door panel, so lots of videos on how to upgrade these things. We're going to be doing the steering wheel, gauge cluster, the 12-inch screen. But the purpose of this video, we're upgrading the seats. So just finished taking out my tradesman seats. We ended up selling them, and then I picked up these limited seats. These might look like Longhorn seats, but they're actually a limited seat. If you look here on the back, it's actually got the limited insignia right there. So some sort of special edition seats. They're not Catskins, they are OEM, but it doesn't say Longhorn here. It's a special order limited. So these seats are full power, everything front, rear. I got the rears over there, and then I have the other rear here, but these are heated, I believe cooled, and then they've got the little lights on the bottom too. What I wanted to show to you guys before we get started is I am super excited to say I had full manual seats in this, you guys. If I go to the front here, nothing was plugged in, but you'll look here, and on these 5th gen trucks, at least mine, it's a 2020, the pigtails are fully populated, and this is just sitting here ready to go for all your full functional seats. So pretty excited about that. And then even if you look on the back, I just finished taking out the standard bench seat with nothing on it. Don't mind all my mess that's usually stored underneath my seat here. But if you look over here, there was the full plug for heated, cooled seats. I don't know what other options, but full populated plug. So this is on this side. Let me go to the other side. And if you look over here, also for the other seat, there is this plug as well. So right here, it's just cut the block off on it. So if we unplug that, we've got this ready to plug into our rear seat. So I'm super excited about that. Moving on to our front passenger, same thing. This was a full manual seat before, and it's got the fully populated harness for full power. So pretty much this is a bolt-on affair. I wanted to show you guys the process, getting these in here. I might play in with a little bit of the programming, but we'll see kind of what happens when we plug everything in, and see kind of what we can get working and whatnot. So let's get straight into it. 4 bolts. I'm not going to go into too much detail on how to remove them because it's pretty straightforward. 18 mil heads on the back, 15 mils on the front, and then on the rear seat, there's nothing. Like, the seats just slot into these channels in the back, and then over here you got 18 mil bolts on both sides. Mine was a 1-piece bench. If yours is a 2-piece, I believe somewhere over here, we're gonna pretty much find where it is. I think it's right in around here. We're gonna need a few more of these bolts. So a couple more of these bolts, because that's where our 2-piece seat is gonna go to, but it'll pretty much tell us where that is. I believe it's right there, but once we get the bench into place, it'll tell us where the hole needs to go, and then we can put in our bolts. Okay, so here is the back bolts, where you can see right here where the seat belt is, and then you can see this knockout here in the carpet. So we are actually gonna pull this up, and then underneath it, we're gonna see these tape overed holes. So we'll peel this up. There's the one hole, and then same with this side. So awesome. This is just ready to go for us. There we go. So now we've got the 2 bolt holes for there, and we'll go ahead and get those into place. So we're gonna bring in our seats, like I said, hang them, plug them in, and get them bolted in. In order to do that though, I'm also gonna remove this so that we're ready to go. All right, so there's the first one. So it just hangs on the back, and then put your bolts in, and then the seat belt actually has the bolt for the rear. So you do need 2 more bolts to go here, so you'll have to source those out. It's an 18 millimeter head on it. Not too sure what the size of the bolt is, but do need a couple more of these guys. And then we'll go ahead, hang this one, and then again, this seat belt has to go through your seat and then around, so you will have to remove this one to get that off. But essentially, it's just on your bench seat, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 in the corner if it's a 1-piece bench, and then this has to come off. There's a 18 mil bolt that goes through that, so that you can actually get the seat out. I guess technically, no, you would still have to. There's no other way to do it, so you'd have to take that off. So let me get the other bench in there, and then we'll plug in our pigtails on both sides. All right, so seats are in. I still got to clean them a little bit, I'll be honest. I kind of needed to get them in here because I sold my old seats, and I need to make this thing functional. So I wanted to make sure they were at least somewhat clean, and then I can get in here and clean them with them in the vehicle. But I wanted to make sure at least the backs and stuff are clean. I will show you guys too that you won't have this little snap here that holds this tray. So these are like spring loaded, they kind of pop out of your way, but you won't have the snap. So whether you want to install one or not, it's up to you guys. But I don't really think it's going to bother me, but these are the fold out tray deals. You guys probably know these. You kind of have to do one of these deals. I guess it kind of helps when that's down so that you can actually unfold it and get it, you know, open like that. Definitely need a little bit of cleaning, but that's those there. I guess my socket staying behind. And like we mentioned before, we'll plug our factory plugs into our rear power seats. So this will plug in here. We gotta actually take off the block off on it. So remove that factory block off, and then we'll plug this into our connector. Same with the other side. Same deal, remove this factory block off and then plug that in as well. So as for the front seats, let's go ahead, put our front passenger seat in there. That should be fairly straightforward. 4 bolts, and plug the plugs in on the bottom. All right, bolts are installed in the back. Those are 18 mil heads again, and then the 15s here. We're gonna get down here, and our plug is all ready to go. So we just click this in, let it snap into place, make sure it's fully seated, and that's it. It's as simple as that. So I don't have power connected to it. I will tell you guys, disconnect your battery before you do all this stuff, because there are airbags in your seats. So make sure you disconnect the battery. So it's not going to move just yet because the battery's disconnected, but let's go ahead and get the driver's side on there, and then we can move on. All right, so it's been about a couple weeks, and I kind of wanted to film the video and edit it in this fashion. So these seats here are from a 19 to 22 HD RAM, so 25, 35, that type of thing. Around the 23, 24 mark, some of the electronics actually changed in these HD RAMs. So the plugs, make sure you guys get the corresponding year for your truck. So if you have 19 to 22, double check the plugs underneath that are already here, and you want to make sure you get seats for the same specific year, because the plugs underneath changed and also the pinouts changed. So on mine, these seats happen to be from a 19 to 22, but the harness, the person that I purchased them off of, he actually needed to take the harness from the driver's seat. So the rest of them were all plug and play, but the driver's seat was from a 23 or 24, the harness. So I had to actually adapt the 23, 24 harness to my truck. My buddy Roman kind of told me that there's some advantages to that, because those years it came with telescopic mirrors, and that module underneath the seat happens to control the telescopic mirrors. So I ended up redoing the pinout on that to make the 23-24 harness fit my 2020 truck. So if you guys are interested in that, comment down below and I can make a video on how I achieved the pinouts and how I did all that. But if you end up having 19 to 22, make sure you get 19 to 22 seats, and they're plug and play is essentially what that comes down to. As far as the programming, I'll put down in the description the changes that I made with AlfaOBD to get this done. One thing that I will comment is, it happened to me, and I know it's happened to other people too. You make the changes, and usually AlfaOBD, you let the vehicle sleep for, you know, maybe half an hour, 20 minutes, somewhere around that range. And then whatever changes you make end up taking effect, and then everything works. For whatever reason, and I've seen other people online have it happen too, made the changes and my seat would not work. The passenger seat worked right away as far as being able to move it around and all that, but the driver's seat would not work, wouldn't move, wouldn't do anything. The only thing I think I could get it to do was the lumbar, was the only thing that would actually work. It wasn't until like the next day that the full seat actually became functional. Don't know why. Seen other people have the same issue, so if you end up running into this, just know that even though you make the changes in AlfaOBD, it might take overnight for whatever reason for your seat to start working. So anyways, seats are in here. They look great. I ended up doing a bunch of other changes, as you'll see. End up getting limited door panels, limited steering wheel, limited gauge cluster. We've got the 12-inch screen in here, center console, the whole thing. And then we ended up doing the headliner, the upgraded overhead console. I still gotta get some other interior panels, so you get the better sun visors and the A-pillar and B-pillar trims as well, but we're just plugging away on this thing. All right, and as far as actually getting the seats to turn on, so I already upgraded to the 12-inch screen, but before this I had the 8.4. On the 8.4 there is the physical buttons to turn the heated seats and cooled seats on. Usually it's right here around this area below your screen. But when you make the AlfaOBD changes, you don't actually have to have the physical buttons. So this one, there never is or was physical buttons on the bigger screen. So if you're planning on going this route, there is no physical buttons. The buttons to turn on the heated and cooled seats are on the actual screen. But if you have the 8.4, sometimes you can get the climate control that has the buttons down here, but I'm going to tell you that you don't have to. You can turn it on in the screen. So I'll show you guys where it is on this one, but even on the 8.4, it will eventually, like I said, it's going to take a little bit of time for the settings to populate on the 8.4 on your ECUConfig screen. But regardless, whether you have this screen or the 8.4 screen, it'll show up on the screen, and that's where you can turn on the seats, turn on your heated seats, your cooled seats, all those settings. So I'll fire this up. The heated and cooled seats will only work when the engine's running, so it has to be actually physically running because it won't power it up. It probably figures you're going to kill the battery. Probably figures that you'll end up draining the battery if you do that. But you can see here, it's automatically coming on right now. So my vented seat, so it's on low. And if I go over here, so we got controls, you can already see it's populated here. So this is where it would pop up. So there's my climate stuff. And then it's over here. So here's the vented seats. Turn on to high, low. There is a setting in AlfaOBD where you can set this to high, low, or you can set it to 3 options. Right now I just have it on the high, low setting. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but you can kind of hear the fans kicking on underneath the seats. So here we go there. There's the vented seat. Or if I want to switch it to heated seat, there you go, high, low. Same with the passenger seat, high, low. So can't have the vented seat on at the same time as the heated seat, of course. I'm also still working on getting the heated steering wheel working, but that's another video for you guys. As far as getting the back heated seats working, I haven't figured that part out. If anybody in the comments wants to chime in, or anybody watching this video, I don't know that it'll populate up here, but there is physical buttons on the back of the center console that are for the heated rear seats. And I think in order to get those to work, I'm gonna have to fully finish the wiring on the center console to make the buttons on the back work here to turn on the back seats. So anyways, that's pretty much it. It's cool that these 5th gen HD trucks have the harnesses for heated and cooled seats. All my features are working on the dash, but I had to kind of go through the changes. I'll put those in the description below because they might change as I kind of get more into all this, but these are the changes down below that got everything working. So check those out. Leave a comment below if you have any questions. And also make sure you subscribe because I have lots of videos coming out, lots of videos already out here. And that way, if I do end up finding out anything, you guys can stay up to date. Also support your boy. Go head over to shopboozed.com. I got lots of parts and all sorts of cool stuff for you guys there. Give it a like. Make sure to subscribe. See you in the next one.